Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show. And now, here's Jeff Crilley.
Good Saturday morning, DFW. Thank you for joining me. We've got a jam-packed show today, and I'm so excited about my first guest, Eric Ferris with BlackBoxStocks. Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so talk about BlackBoxStocks. This is one of those ideas that I think when people hear it for the first time, they say, oh my goodness, brilliant. So tell us how it works.
Well, the idea is that we created a tool for people that want to trade on their own, and the focus is on something very simple, intuitive, easy to use, right out of the box. No customization. You log in, and from day one, you can start managing your own money and making profitable trades.
And how does it work exactly?
Well, we put all the complexity in the background, so when you log in, it looks pretty straightforward, but there's a tremendous amount of different types of mathematical algorithms running on different servers up in New Jersey near the stock exchanges, processing tremendous amounts of data in real time, and it spits it out in just very simple stocks and alerts that people would find very interesting and useful to trade.
And so you have a dashboard, and it's constantly alerting you to movement.
Right. So it's looking for small anomalies, things that kind of stick out, but in an ocean, it would be very difficult to see. It monitors about 13,000 stocks multiple times a second.
Wow. So let's take you're monitoring a $5 stock, and the stock has a predictable rhythm to it, and then all of a sudden this stock is moving very quickly. Your process alerts the trader, hey, there's something going on. There may be no news here, but something's happening.
Right. So we're not really looking at fundamental data. We look at some fundamental data that might affect how a stock would move. For example, if a stock has a very low float out there, that would be an alert. It would say, the stock's moving, there's not a lot of shares available. It could be suspect for making a bigger move. And then as additional volume comes in, we'll put in additional alerts. And then if it meets a combination of various criteria, we'll say, hey, this thing is, it looks like it has a good chance of really taking off.
And those small moves on a $5 stock can add up to a lot of money depending on how much you're trading. Yeah,
if you're patient and you can pick your spots, you can make a lot of money on some of these smaller, not necessarily penny stocks. We focus more on the lower priced, or we have access to the lower priced stocks in NASDAQ, for example. We also do cover penny stocks in the OTC, which is the Wild West, and some of those things can move like 1,000% in a day.
Right.
But, and that's not very common, but we have that capability, so when it does happen maybe once a month, you'll be alerted very early on.
Absolutely. Well, who do you see as kind of your target audience for this? Is this the retiree who has his entire nest egg, in his portfolio, or who is this for?
Well, it really covers the gamut. I think people have always been fascinated by the stock market, and they enjoy trading stocks, and it's a benefit to all of us to have more people involved. And so you have retired people who have extra time on their hands, and most of the action happens between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern. So you don't have to devote a whole day to this. You can just log in and in the morning, and maybe there's some money to be made, maybe not. It can supplement your income a few $100 a day, or you can make $1,000 a day, or you could do it full time. And also young people that are interested about the stock market and don't have the time or money that want to put into complicated systems. Ours is ready to use out of the box.
Does it also tell you when to get out?
It's not so much a trading platform. I mean, we're not giving you buy and sell signals. We're just alerting you to anomalies we find. With a bias towards things wanting to be long, we're not really putting out information about shorting and things like that. So it's more just a signal system.
Right. What's been the reaction from people who see it for the first time?
Well, this is what's really exciting. We've have about 20, 30 beta testers now, and the reaction runs the gamut from I wanted to tattoo this on myself to I'm not getting anything else on my desktops besides this. So we're really we have had very few bad reviews. Everybody's very excited about it, and we're getting a lot of good feedback about how to improve it as well.
When I first heard about your company, I thought to myself, okay, so this really does level the playing field, doesn't it? Because this information may be available, but it's a very expensive program, and you're probably a Wall Street trader inside of a large organization that would have access to this otherwise.
Yeah, this information is very difficult to get, and we have a background in technology and high frequency trading, and we took a lot of the sort of tools that are only available to specialized firms and larger funds. We use a lot of those sort of tools in this to give people access to this similar equal playing field.
On a day like after the Brexit vote, and you remember that day on Wall Street where things were just tanking, everything was red across the screen. Is that a good day to use BlackBoxStocks, or do you prefer a day when things are calm?
Yeah, I think it's better on a calm day or a more typical day when anomalies sort of stick out, and those anomalies tend to have more follow through, and there's less systemic action going on. It's more individual action, right? So on days like that, or whenever there's large moving news about GDP or employment, those sorts of things, it sort of can diminish the information that you can provide in individual stocks.
So when your system is really only looking at data, it's not emotional, it's not driven by news or anything. You're just
and that's another beautiful thing about computers. They never get lazy and they never get tired, and they sit there and they analyze just what information you throw them at them in real time. And there's no emotion involved whatsoever, and they're very consistent.
So if I was using your platform and I saw this small stock is starting to rise rapidly, there's just something's going on, would I then go out to the internet to see if there's any news? Would I then go out and see if there's something in the chat rooms, or what's causing this stock to move?
And we have that access to those features on our platform. So our idea is that you don't really have to leave our platform whatsoever. You can click there and go right to StockTwits, which is social media. So there'll be people discussing it. We also have a chat feature on our platform now, so there'll be people in the chat room potentially discussing things, and you can go to various RSS news feeds and get that what possible news there might be.
Wow, that's cool. Do you have it so like if I'm away from my computer and I'm in a meeting, can I set up an alert so that my phone goes off and says, you better get back to your computer because there's money to be made?
This is a functionality we're still considering. We're getting feedback from various people about that. I think it'll be an option we put in. I think it's important to be watching in real time when you're trading. It's a little more challenging to do it from afar. It's challenging enough when you're watching full time, but I think it'll be a feature. We'll add in some alerts that potentially could, trigger points that you're interested in.
Do you see this as something where does a person have to have a certain risk tolerance to enjoy something like this, rather than the guy who just wants to buy AT&T and hold on to it for 40 years?
Right. Yeah. This isn't for Warren Buffett. I mean, this is for people who have some money. They want to potentially make a little additional money, but they have to take some chances. Yeah, it's riskier.
In terms of your competition, is there anything else like this on the market?
We have a lot of competitors that might appear on the surface to look like ours, but when you actually download them, first of all, ours is not downloadable. We have a login to a website, so you can go in immediately there. It's platform independent. You don't have to download, run anything. And when you get there, most of them are way more complicated. You're immediately inundated with a tremendous amount of information and customization features, and you can configure it however you want it. Ours has no customization. You log in and it's ready to go, and nobody's really offering that simplistic approach.
Let's talk about momentum trading for a little bit, because I think I've been in the stock market for a decade. I haven't been wildly successful, and there are many different ways to buy stocks. You can say, should I buy a stock when it's low because it's on sale, or should I buy a stock at the peak? Momentum trading is kind of a different philosophy, isn't it?
It's different, but our system can still work well for that. In fact, I have a few momentum trader friends that have used it, and for them, it puts things on the radar, and they start watching it. And my friend said a lot of them have a really good follow through, and he wouldn't have found them otherwise. So it can work for momentum style trading too, and it's a very inexpensive platform. So I think it can work for people who want to get in and day trade in and out fast, and people who just want to look for stocks to trade on momentum for longer term.
What does it cost?
It's $80 a month.
Now, that's very affordable.
Yeah, and all of our beta testers said that it's not only are we cheaper than our competitors, they said that it's extraordinarily cheap for the value that we're giving them.
Well, where do you see this going? I mean, as you're one of the innovators behind this technology. Do you see a 2.0 or a 3.0?
Yeah, and we're going to roll out applications for the iOS and Android, and I think people are really going to. It'll have a bit of a self-fulfilling capacity as well. I mean, as the chat rooms get better and more people get involved, it's going to have more value to the individual traders.
I have to compliment you on the aesthetics. I think it's a pretty dashboard. I mean, it looks good, and it's not as intimidating as the stock market. Well, some of those charts can be.
It's funny because that's a amalgamation of me and my business partners' very, very technical background. We're engineers, we're computer scientists, and our other business partner who is very old school. And every time we argue about absolutely everything, and we arrive somewhere in the middle that tends to make everybody happy. And that's one of the reasons it's very simple and straightforward.
Awesome. Okay, what's the website?
It's www.blackboxstocks.com.
Wow. Eric, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Jeff.
And we will be right back after this message.
More of The Jeff Crilley Show coming up.